The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed on the Canna Connect Show belong solely to the individuals and do not reflect those of Canna Connect and its affiliates, sponsors, or partners. Canna Connect does not promote or facilitate any activity that violates state or federal regulations. Everything you hear here is strictly for educational and entertainment purposes. It is not legal advice, it is not financial guidance, and it's definitely not medical direction. Seriously, don't take our word for it. Even if someone on the mic sounds like they know what they're talking about, and they're probably crazy smart too. Regardless of how legit our guests may be, you should always do your own homework, consult with your attorney, and understand the risk you're taking before you do anything when it comes to cannabis. Our intention is to keep it real. If you've got a problem with anything we've said, take us to court.
Local 49, huge supporter of Canna Connect. We're working with them to help them better understand the cannabis industry, understand where they fit in, both on the hemp side and the cannabis side. And the cool thing with Local 49 is they've got great benefits, and they're able to work with small mom and pop, and then also the larger companies as well. So Local 49 is a union. Learn more about them by visiting our website, and can't wait to share more about our partnership with Local 49. Welcome back to the Canna Connect Show. I'm your host, Steven Eigenman, live from Lucky Leaf, and today I am joined by Local 49. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I got Dan Gilbert and Benjamin Mike. What does Local 49 stand for? Tell me. International Union of Operating Engineers. So how far back does this go?
So we will be celebrating our 100-year anniversary in Minnesota, covering construction workers operating heavy equipment.
Yeah.
Public sector workers, private sector workers, sand and gravel. So that's our core business is protecting and covering those workers.
So when I'm on 394 and I see construction and there's what do you call those earth movers or
we
got like that?
The excavators, the scrapers, the dozers, all that big yellow equipment, that's all our guys operating that. But behind the scenes, those street workers, those park workers, those are our workers too, right? They're in your cities, they're local to your community.
Yeah.
We're protecting those workers and helping those workers as well.
And before you got to where you are, tell me where you started in this industry.
Yes, sir. So I started my entry into Local 49 as a worker was in the concrete world. So I started as concrete removal, and then prep, and then reinstall concrete. So ADA sidewalks, the curb and gutter.
Yeah.
So a lot of that street project, flat work project that you see, everything that we use daily.
On the ground,
getting her done.
And one thing that people need to know about Local 49 is that you don't get to HQ unless you put in the years and years of work to understand the industries that you are a part of.
That's right. I would say any union, the more active you are in your union, the active participant has that opportunity. And if that passion is there, those opportunities are afforded people that put in that kind of effort, that kind of strong passion. And that's where mine came from. My passion came from in the field. I cared about my union. I participated in my meetings. I went to events.
Yeah.
And then from that, I was recognized and I was invited to apply for a job on staff. Now I'm a labor organizer, and that's what I do is fight for workers and look for workers. And then part of that also is, especially in the cannabis industry, we are looking to partner. This isn't about the union of the 1950s, pitchforks and torches.
Sure.
This is about a partnership now.
Yeah.
It is a new era. It is a new age. How do we make this work for everybody, right? And part of what I love about the cannabis industry and where we're at now is it's still heavily focused on the micro side of that.
Yeah.
How do we keep private equity out of it in the sense of there needs to be oversight on them.
I think private equity ruins a lot of good companies.
That's correct. So being able to support the micro business and affording them the same opportunities that a large-scale company have.
Yeah.
Right? We have that through our health insurance. We have that through a pension.
Yeah. Now, tell me about your benefits.
Yeah. Dan?
Well, I guess our benefits would be like, first of all, our health and welfare, the pension. Pension's huge. Everybody wants a retirement, right?
Yeah.
With us, we're with the central pension, second largest in the nation, $23 billion in assets. Your money is safe. So with 108% funding, you got nothing to worry about. Some pension plans, how that works, if it drops below 70% funding, the federal government will step in and they still look at it as drug money. So then they'll make that pay back. So the number one thing is pension liability. You want your pension to be safe.
Pension is kind of a term of the past, right? And it had been.
It's coming.
It's coming back. Very few less and less companies are able to offer pension. That's one of the
took it away from us. They stripped it from us.
Tell me more.
We were told 401ks went away with the future. Well, when 401k money runs out, it runs out.
Yeah.
A pension is for life. It's an investment for life. So not only does the micro owner be able to invest in themselves, that's their money, just secured in our $23 billion pension package, right? And all that, the worker then is protected. They have a quality of life. They have a retirement that they could say, I've earned this, and I have that right to that money.
Yeah, because, there's a lot of mom and pops. There's a lot of independent micro businesses, as you talked about. And I want people to know, if you're a small micro business, it's worth having a conversation with Local 49 about how they can provide you benefits. And it's not astronomical. And it's actually, as you guys have explained it, you guys have some of the most affordable benefit packages.
That's right. That's right.
We streamline it. So it's not like you're going to do individual benefits, right? We got a third-party administrator that takes care of everything. It's like a one-stop shop.
A one-stop shop.
Yeah, it is. Simplifies the
family insurance, right?
Yeah.
So, yes, you have an opportunity to be a single person in this, but grow into a family insurance plan. Yeah. And it takes care of everything.
Wow.
And again, when I refer to that partnership, I want to talk to that owner because I want that owner. I know that owner wants to be able to provide something on the micro level.
Yeah.
That corporate, faceless, nameless, they're not concerned, right? And it's essentially exploited workers now for the last 40 years. We've seen that.
That's where we come in.
That's where we're looking to protect. And how does that help on the small level and then grow?
And how do you feel supported? Larry, you guys work for Local 49. You guys are out in the field. What kind of security do you feel as an employee of Local 49 over the years?
Well, it's the brotherhood. You have other people to help you. You're not individualized no more.
Yeah.
Now you're with a group of other people.
Sure.
The Local 49 has in-house counsel. We had retained an outside parties per council, that's a retainer.
Sure.
Right. We've got a political director.
Yeah.
He's at the Capitol every day, fighting for all sorts of various issues.
Right.
If it's obviously infrastructure money, that's one thing. If it's regulation on how to protect workers, if it's worker safety. So, we see that in all sorts of, so the support that's within Local 49, right? We have 40 business agents. We have a great leadership.
Yep.
Right. Leadership's given us this opportunity to get out there, talk to workers. Yeah. Dan's put an amazing amount of work in just to get the LPAs drafted, the labor peace agreements drafted. Right. Minnesota's taken that step to say, if you're going to be in the cannabis field, you have to have a labor peace agreement.
Yeah.
We have that labor peace agreement.
Right.
Right. And we're willing to talk and willing to listen and willing to work with you to try to shape what a contract looked like.
Right. And what are some of your early goals within the cannabis industry as it relates to the work that you do?
I would say our goal is to help the industry. Like we've talked before, I started off in the hemp industry.
Yeah.
And, basically where I came into is my dad stepdad had cancer, right? And he had 2 years to live. He lived 2.5 years, and on his deathbed, he told me straight up what kept him alive was marijuana. At that point, I started growing. I looked into the Department of Agriculture, got licensed to start growing hemp. And unfortunately, the hemp industry has kind of got kicked to the curb with everything that's kind of going on right now.
Yep.
So I've there really can't much do. So once I seen the hole there where the labor unions need to step in to help out.
Yeah.
I started the whole thing to help out medical industries, helping people out with, cancer or any kind of stuff. I still to the day just give out free stuff if anybody's shot. Sure. Any medical issue.
Right.
You heard really good information last night. We were with SodaCan.
Yep.
And they made a great statement about social justice.
Yeah.
What it means in the community.
Okay.
So how do we help with that, right? If we can protect the worker, discussions we've had in the past, Department of Labor has the 1099, right?
Yes.
And that's a misclassification of a worker. If you're going to come and work for me and I tell you what hours you have to work, and I'm giving you what time your break is at, I'm telling you to use these tools,
right?
You're not an independent contractor. That's fraud. You're avoiding that contractor, that owner is avoiding taxes. And God is a big thing right now.
Yes.
So unions in general can help on that oversight. So I believe that's why the state of Minnesota made a bona fide labor union for 10 or more employees.
Okay.
because labor unions have that opportunity to help on oversight, but on specifically misclassification of worker, which is what we do in the construction field. We're looking for that. We want to make sure workers are being protected. Paid right, wage theft, right? Those are Department of Labor.
Yeah.
Department of Labor can only go so far. You have somebody with the scale and breadth that we have, over 15,000 members,
Right.
and then to add to anybody from the cannabis industry.
Right.
So we're kind of using the flex and the muscle that we have
Yep.
from what our core business is,
Yeah.
and be able to help and support the cannabis industry going forward here in 2026.
Absolutely. Now, before we jump all the way into the cannabis industry, I want to touch on the brewery industry a little bit.
Yeah.
The beverage industry. The nice thing about Minnesota is that we will continue to have a hemp beverage industry. We will continue to have hemp products because it is written into the state rules that we have a hemp industry that's protected. I can't say the same for national, but within the hemp, within the Minnesota hemp beverage industry, within the Minnesota brewery industry, there will still be folks that will continue to make hemp beverages. When it comes to breweries, though, the state has a lot more transparency on production. That's something we've talked about. What are you able to look up when it comes to barrels produced at the state level or inside Minnesota?
That's right.
And what are we looking for when it comes to hemp beverage barrels produced?
That's a great question, right? For just hemp beverage produced, they are governed or exclusive craft brewers.
Craft brewers, yep.
And that's mainly what Minnesota is made of, is craft brewers.
Yeah.
Even at a 3 million barrel count, that's still considered a craft brewer. When you're talking about the Anheuser-Busch, the Coors Light, you're talking about, triple digit barrel production.
In the million.
In the million, right? In the millions. So even at 3 million production, it's still considered a craft brewer. Not a microbrewer, but a craft brewer, right? So you still have a scale, economies of scale. Right? Yeah. You still have your 140 barrel producer, but they're managed. They're regulated by ATF, right? There's a barrel count.
Alcohol tax, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms.
That's correct.
Right.
There's a whole regulation they're reporting in the Department of Revenue. How many barrels are being produced? So they've already have plenty of oversight. That opportunity to come in and shape a contract that would be more specific to a 140 barrel producer to a 3 million barrel producer. The idea is there that you can recognize what they're doing.
Ultimately, Local 49 wants to understand what's going on.
That's right.
And how they can protect workers.
That's right.
So that we can have a better working class.
But help the industry. We want everybody to help the industry.
Right. I mean, you're not here to battle the owner, right? You're not here to battle. We want to work with you. We want to be able to provide an avenue to get those resources to people in a means that'll be if it's affordable or if we streamline the process. Yeah. Right. If I have to go buy health insurance for my 15 people, I've got 3 months wrapped up into buying insurance. Right. I've got to call my insurance agent. I've got to see what packages are available. I got to look and see what fits my employees. Yeah. Right. So if I got a single plus one, got a family. How does this work? Right. There's not all of it. Whereas coming to Local 49 to just buy something as simple as health insurance. Yeah. You're just reporting, I have this person. Okay. I owe this money. Wow. I pay it on the 50 and it's done. Wow. You're not shopping that around. You're not having 3 months of your time that's wrapped up of going back and to find what package works.
It's an easier option.
That's right.
And as you know,
and this is streamlined for the partnership. It's into the order. Right? Yeah. I can't help your business. I'm not going to help you sell more. What I can do is give you more time. Yeah. I can give you time that you don't have to dedicate to shopping these other things that you're required. Yeah.
And it's reliable.
That's right.
Reliable benefits.
Yep. And as the insurance, obviously, what they're shopping around, they're going to see that the lower amount of people that they have, the higher the premium they're going to have to pay. So in Local 49, we've got 15,000 members, which translates around 33,000 belly buttons on these plans, which then drops the race. So when they're going around, they're looking for health insurance, they're going to have to pay a high deductible for a low insurance. Where here you would pay a low deductible for a high insurance.
You're already getting into a group plan. Yeah. You're essentially coming into a group plan. 15,000 plus members.
I think that's the biggest thing that folks need to know because we need insurance. The healthcare system in America is often broken. So, we need an easy place to go. That's right.
That's right. Another thing we heard last night too was what does it mean, right? I think there was a 20% success rate or what was a profitable company getting into the hemp or cannabis industry, right? Well, if you're going to contribute into your own pension, right? You as an owner, you're going to contribute into that pension.
Yeah.
If it's 5 years or 10 years, that's your money. That's still going to be there. That's your money as you contribute. So as you try to navigate what it means to be a business, where your success lies, it becomes a savings account for yourself. So if it's only 5 years that you're in the business, that's not all lost. It's not all lost. You put their money somewhere. You entrusted us to have it. It's your money. You're going to get that money back, and you're going to get it back in the form of a pension monthly for life.
Okay.
So I thought that was a big thing last night that we heard in terms of it's 20% being profitable.
Yeah.
It felt a little bit like a restaurant industry.
Yes.
What's the success rate out of a restaurant, right? This is a brand new, you've got to create your brand. You've got to create your image, right? Well, in the meantime, if you're making enough to be able to afford a package, our package, it's your money.
Especially in this day and age.
That's right.
Okay. So,
on the part of being transparent, unions, they're always the big bad union, right? So being transparent on this is there's union dues, right? Everybody talks about, I don't want to deal with the union because there's dues. Okay. Our union dues are $35 a month. With those dues, you got NCL benefits, which gives you like a half off membership at Costco. You get discounts at Advanced AutoZone, Ford. You could send people to college for less money for a discounted price.
you got a whole network and stuff.
Legal fee, flat rate legal fleet fees. This all comes with your off dues. So
that's right.
Totally transparent. You always hear about the big bad unions with their union dues. Our union dues are not just for membership; it is also for benefits. So
I'm going to ask a dumb question.
go ahead, buddy.
No dumb question.
So
We're all learning.
I signed a labor peace agreement on behalf of Canna Connect in October of last year.
Yes, sir.
Do I get all of these? Am I now a member of the?
Sure, that's a great question, right? An LPA is just that. It's a labor peace agreement. It says that you've entered into or willing to, and it's by no means binding. But when you get to that point when you're ready to have those conversations, you at least now have a contact. Then when we enter into a contract, you become that member. So yeah, that's a great question. Definitely not dumb.
Right.
The labor peace agreement binds you to nothing, but it serves your obligation to the state for your licensure.
Right. And that's going to apply to businesses that have over 10 employees.
That's right.
Or if they want, it's up to them if they want to unionize. It gets the benefit.
It's in effect at 10 plus.
Yes.
But I can help somebody with 2. So if it's mom and pop, husband and wife, 2 buddies, whatever it might be,
3 partners,
right? We could take care of, we can structure that. But at 10 more, then you have to be part of or signed with a bona fide labor union.
Now, just to recap a little bit, Dan, what was it like in October going through? What was the LPA onboarding process like? And maybe highlight a couple of the things you're optimistic or successful. You got Surly. That's a big one. Let's talk a little bit about October.
So we have 2 different labor peace agreements. One more focus more for the cannabis industry, and one focus more for the low potency hemp industry.
Yep.
That we've got, I think we're up to 32 different breweries right now that we've got signed on LPAs.
Great.
So the difference between an LPA and the active working contract. So once you sign that LPA, it just gives us time to sit down at the table with you, right? We're not coming in and pounding on the table. We're going to look for common grounds of how we can help you as the employer and how we can help the employee also. So we're basically trying to be the common ground, like the mediator, if you will, right? So that's kind of what we're looking at to help out with the industry.
Sure.
And as I say, the working contract, we would sit down and we would go over the wages, benefits, and how that's being allocated.
And I would present that as a business decision, to be honest with you. Right? We've had an opportunity to talk to some local brewers.
Yep.
And it's more about, I'd appreciate the Pepsi challenge. Go up against us. See what you're paying now versus what we can offer. I'm happy to have that conversation.
I like it.
And see what that looks like, right? We are open about that.
Right.
We don't hide numbers. And on top of that, we are there's federal oversight on unions.
Yeah.
So right, that idea, the old myths about unions being what they were,
right?
It's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
I have to report monthly on what I just did for the last month.
Really?
Right. So then that goes and gets filed. So there's a whole lot of oversight that happens within the union.
Okay.
And I think that's what's different about what union is today.
Yeah.
And what it can do for both the employer and the employee.
I really like the one-stop shop. Hey, I can get a lot of value out of working with one group, because the more that I look into and see more within the aquarium of ancillary businesses in the cannabis industry that are looking to serve, You got payroll, you've got HR, you got benefits, you got payroll, you got HR, you got benefits. Well, gosh, I mean, I'm already tied up. I'm already tied up with a lot of services that I got to handle every month.
That's right. Now it's just a matter of how long did Steve work? I put that on the sheet. I remit that in. It's done. It gets divvied up where it needs to go, right? It gets submitted to pension. It gets submitted to Steve comes to me. I'm the owner. Steve comes to me and says, I have a question on insurance. As the owner, I just say, here's the deal. Go ahead and call Wilson McShane.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
They're going to be able to answer those questions. They can get you the resources that you need, right? The other resource that we have is Teams. So it focuses on mental health, diet, nutrition.
Not Microsoft Teams.
That's right. Not Microsoft Teams.
Fuck Microsoft Teams.
Get them out of here. No, but Teams is it's a program orientated at mental health.
Okay.
It's just orientated at nutrition. To quit tobacco, right? It's designed to help. Prime example, they had 2 deaths this summer out on the construction road.
Okay.
And Teams was dispatched right away. So those workers that were affected by those 2 deaths,
Yes.
right, had somewhere to go right away. They had somebody to be able to talk to provide that resource. That's a very traumatic event. To have it on a work site, out on a freeway. I mean,
Yeah.
you get that right
And
there.
that's part of your job.
That's correct.
I mean, it doesn't happen every day, but
it's a reality.
It's a reality of the work.
Death out on the workplace is a reality, right? I don't, what that looks like in this industry, who knows? But to have the support and the resources, that's what Teens is for us. We're partnered with Teens.
He also has patient advocacy. So if one of our members go in and, accidentally, you get that terminal, the acknowledgement that you got cancer, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're a brotherhood at that point. What do you do, right? If you're singled out, you're on the streets, like, okay, what do I turn to? In a brotherhood as a union, we have teams, like he says, where you got a patient advocacy. You call them up, hey, this is a procedure I've got looking into. What is right? If you're at his work, so example, my dad he had polyps, he had colon cancer, right? He was in the hospital. They basically said, oh, hey, we could take it out, day surgery, no problem. I called that patient advocacy and I said, hey, this is what's going on. They said, absolutely not. Has they seen an oncologist?
They're RN.
No. So what happened? They basically, at the end of this, they sent my dad to the university. He got the best treatment they can because they had to use radiation and chemo to shrink it and then pull it out. So after this all went down, that patient advocate basically told me that I saved my dad's life because if they would have did day surgery that day, something about oxygen and cancer, it would have spread all over his body.
You got to get a second opinion.
You have that. You have the ability. We have the ability to provide that to our membership.
That's what a brotherhood is about.
And you don't know what people are going through. I don't know, right? My experience is different from the next.
Right.
But if they know there's some common ground that they can go and reach out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you want to say, hey, I think Steve needs some help, and I call Teens, I can say, hey, I think, can you please reach out to him? This is what I observed, right? You even can help them through Teens and get them the help. I don't know. I wouldn't know how to help somebody but you can see maybe somebody might be in distress or struggling.
Yeah.
Right. I can maybe reach out to Teens, and Teens knows how to navigate that.
Okay. Great.
So those resources are big for our membership.
Guys, we're tight on time today.
Yes, sir.
I'd love to have you back in another month here.
That's awesome.
Before we go, what's the best way to get in touch with Local 49?
I would say if our partnership with the old Canna here is one of the best ways.
We would be happy to.
Yeah, and the other way, if you're here at the event here, we're at booth 215. You can look us up online. Local
Dan Gilbert, Benjamin, Mike, research.
Awesome.
Do your homework. Do the Local 49 challenge.
Happy to help.
Yeah.
Happy to talk.
You guys aren't afraid to talk about anything.
No, sir.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good to see you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, Dan.